In this today's tutorial, we will be understanding about global list. Using global list by making a process flow, we will understand how we can push the task sequence into the list and then ask operators to use the task as a to-do list. We will also understand about creating priorities and picking up parts which are highly important. We are going to look into multiple debottlenecking steps by using this process flow, and this is how your model is going to look once you complete this tutorial. So what does this code mean? When a new item enters destination 4, it will trigger on entry trigger for the queue. What that happens is that the queue will sort any item with a rush order of a value 1 so that they are at the top of the queue and get pulled first, right? So now that's what. Now let us create other elements into the process flow. So we have already created a destination details here. That queue has been updated with the logic, item.rush order. Now what we're gonna do is the unload robot, which was initially the processor, we are going to change that to the destination 4, right? And now let us see by resetting and running a model how that is going to work, right? Now let us run that, right? It is going to the scanning, putting onto the destination 4, and then ideally it should be pulling the items from here, right? Here it is. Let me see the connections out in there. Input connections. We have it from Q3. Now let us do this. Let me remove the Q3 destination. Okay. Here also we have a Q3. I'll just remove that. And in your case, it will be only destination 4 out there. Okay. And you see that the parts are now going to the processor. Okay. So they are supposed to go and keep on doing that. But still, if we are going to add the queue, our what I can say, the advantage of using a global list is not getting replicated, right? Why? Because we have a condition here still that is wait for event, and we are going to remove this wait for event now. Okay, so we make maximum utilization of our global list logic. So the operators keep on dumping the parts onto the queue and they don't wait for any of the things. And this is how it will work, right? Even though the processors are processing, the operators will keep on dumping the parts onto the destination, and that is what the advantage of the global list can be, right? So summarizing what we have done from the multiple parts onto this tutorial is that we tried creating understanding the difference between the internal list, local list, and the global list. We understood creating a process flow which is basically going to create a task, and those tasks are going to be pushed to the list, and that is going to act as a to-do list for the operators into the 3D environment, and the 3D environment operators are going to pull the task from the list, and that is what is going to happen. Now, if you see, initially what we did is we just transferred the parts to the single processor by using 2 operators. Then we add priorities, right? So that the high priority parts are taken onto the processor. Now here, if you could see, what was happening is that only 2 tasks were going into the list, right? That was not sufficient. And that's where what we did is we added a new queue where the operators will continuously keep on doing their task, so they are not underutilized, and the processors are going to pick up the parts based on the priority we assigned for the rush orders. And if you see, the processors are bringing up red parts only. Whenever you're going to have no red parts, then the processor are going to process brown parts. So now the task holds many more than 2 tasks at a time because the system no longer has the restrictions, and the restrictions are already taken care of and being pushed to the item list. If the items begin to accumulate in the decision Q4, the processor will pull the rush items, which we already discussed. That is like the red parts are going to be pulled up. So talking about the conclusion, as we have now built a transportation task using list and process flow, you can see there are some of the few advantages and some of the few disadvantages. Let's talk about advantages. Designing look for work task systems. Using a global list, you can push task sequences to the list and have operator pull off task sequences based on the criteria you have given once they become available. In this example, you have seen that the operator pull high priority tasks first, but you could possibly add even more complexity to the system. For example, you could have operators with particular specialty pull off task sequences that require the specialty. Models can be scalable. Mixing and matching with the standard logics is quite easy. Priorities and preemptions, if you have seen how it was applied. The other process flow systems do not have a way to assign tasks a priority or preemption value that works well with the standard logic. The only way to assign priorities and preemption is to build a task sequence and assign that task sequence a priority level or preemption value, then push it to the global list. However, there are some disadvantages which we will talk about now. No dynamic decision making is done. One disadvantage of the system is that task sequences cannot be dynamically changed or updated once it is pushed to the list. Once the task sequence has been pushed to the global list, it cannot be altered. For example, an operator cannot make a dynamic decision about which processor to unload a flow item because that are ordered to be predetermined when the task sequence is built and pushed to the list. So this particular weakness of the global list system potentially eliminates the advantage of the system. Now, we are going to conclude the task logic tutorial. By now, you have hopefully gotten a good sense of advantages and disadvantages, different methods of building task sequence and simulation model using global list, using process flow. In the next tutorial, what we are going to do is we are going to understand about coordinated tasks. So till then, stay tuned on Leansimcorp, watching our tutorials of Flexsim. You will also be getting content related to AI, ML, and industrial engineering. Do not forget to watch those. Do not forget to visit our website leansimcorp.com for premium content, and do not forget to be a member of our Leansimcorp community by purchasing a subscription, which is going to be a lifetime subscription. So there are a lot of benefits, guys. Join us now and stay tuned. Bye-bye.